Shalom, Israel. And when I mean Israel, I'm talking about the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. The Lord's 54th annual Passover is going down again this year, sundown, April 1st at 500 South Salisbury Street in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Downtown Conventional Center. It's got enough room for all of us. The Lord's 54th annual Passover. Last year, brothers and sisters showed up from all over the world, rocking ancient garments and glorious apparel in order to serve the Most High in Christ. Now, it's that time again. Commander General Yohana's putting out the decree for all brothers and sisters to show up sundown, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us at the Sheridan in Raleigh, the hotel right downtown. It's at 421 South Salisbury. The Passover is right up the block at the convention center, literally within walking distance. Make sure you pull up. Make sure that you do your due diligence because rooms are going fast and they are limited this weekend. You understand? We have months in advance of preparation. Do not wait till the last minute to get your room. The Lord's 54th annual Passover, Saturday, April 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us there.
It's about time, send the curses to them enemies.
That movie that they just made called Braveheart, the black people was ruling this. That was blacks fighting against each other. That's how we felt. We had you so-called white people in captivity then. When Mel Gibson made that movie and the guys that he had working on that movie with him, they knew they lied when they showed them dirty and nasty. There wasn't no dirty and nasty people. You're the dirty and nasty people, so-called white people. You're going to pay for that lie. Had him as a little kid like he never took a bath. Then had him as grown men with rags on, with sackcloth on. And they were nobles. You bastards, you're going to pay for these lies that you put out about our foreparents. We know how to dress. We were dressed up during that time. We had beautiful garments. And that your historians and your archaeologists know this. Your movie makers know this. When they made that movie called Robin Hood, Robin Hood Thieves of Heart. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Robert. Put out by Kevin Costner. They had him dressed up like bums. Had him dressed up like bums in that movie. Hollywood, so-called Hollywood is going to pay for that, which is run by the so-called Jews. And the Illuminati is going to pay for all these lies they put out about our foreparents.
This is 7-1. In the first year of Belshazzar.
Belshazzar was a grandson of Nebuchadnezzar. Go sit down in the library and read. This is history here in the Daniel, the 7th chapter.
King of Babylon. Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed.
So the Most High gave him these visions.
Then he wrote the dream and told us some of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea.
The four winds of the heaven mean the destruction coming from the north, east, south, and west. That's what the four winds mean. On the great sea, the Mediterranean Sea. Italy is born into the Mediterranean Sea. Greece is born into the Mediterranean Sea. Palestine, Israel is born on the Mediterranean Sea.
And four great beasts came up from the sea.
And four great beasts, four great kingdoms came up from the sea.
Diverse, one from another.
Different, one from another.
And the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings.
And the first was like a lion and it had eagle's wings. Go in the Museum of History on 81st Street and Central Park West. Go in the museum, the Metropolitan Museum on 83rd Street and 5th Avenue. And go in the Assyrian Gallery, the Babylonian Assyrian Gallery. They have a lion sitting on the floor with eagle's wings coming out of his back. That's the Babylonian lion. So this first beast represents the Babylonian Empire that Daniel was in. Nebuchadnezzar and Belshazzar.
I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it lifted up from the earth.
When it said it lifted up from the earth, it became a ruler over the kingdom of Assyria, and it took Israel into captivity. This is in history.
And made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it.
And when it said a man's heart was given to it, great wisdom was given to the kingdom of Babylon.
We live. All right, let's clap it up. Hey, Shalom, Israel. This is Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Start out at 1 West, Harlem, New York, 125th Street, under Commander Junior Hanna. This is Chicago. This is a Feast of Purim. We're gonna be going over the Feast of Purim. For so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. This is one of the feasts that that honors our sisters. This like one of the great feasts that this sister Esther, she did something that's to be commended for our nation. And that's what this is gonna be about. We got a lot of strong sisters, that's in the Bible, and Esther's one of them. You also got Susanna, you got Judith, and you got Ruth, but this is gonna be about Esther. So we're gonna start in Esther. We're gonna start at we're gonna go 1 and 1. You can start right there.
Come. It's the book of Esther, chapter 1, verse 1. Our argument, Hawkworth got it?
Come.
Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. This is Ahasuerus which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces.
Go ahead.
In those days, when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan.
So this is basically, if I'm not mistaken, he was at the Medes and Persian captivity. Shushan, King Ahasuerus, he was over all, like I said, 120 provinces. This is where, when we was taken away into captivity during the Medes and the Persian invasion. So we was up under, their rulership. Go ahead, read.
The palace, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants. The power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces, being before him.
So, this king, during this time, he decides he wanted to have a feast. He wanted to show, highlight, everything that they done did, they conquering. He decided to throw a feast to show, they might and their power. Drop down to verse 10.
Come. Verse 10. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Bezatha, Biztha, Harbana, Bigtha, and Abagtha, Zathar, and Sarkis, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king.
Go ahead.
To bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princes her beauty.
To do what?
To show the people and the princes her beauty.
Go ahead.
For she was fair to look on.
So when a woman got when a man got a bad woman, he want to show off. So the king, after he threw this little feast, he ain't got little drink in him and stuff. He was feeling good. He was feeling wonderful. You're like, okay, man, let me go on ahead. Hey, look, I need y'all to call, go get my queen, so I can show off, so I can show them, this is my woman, That's that's how men go. They got some, they got a woman that's like, nice to look. They show a beauty off. Like, this is me. A woman, a woman's, beauty and character, that like, that kind of, that says a lot about a man, especially that character part. You have a woman of good character, and good stature, that shows a lot about, that man, because, obviously that man is doing something right. That man is doing something correct. So you got a beautiful woman, and, she's, submissive, kind, she helpful, she thoughtful, you know, when you have a woman like that, that says a lot about that man. The Lord say, a good woman is given to, a great man. Right. Evil woman is given to, an evil man. Right. Paraphrasing, but that's what Scripture say. So like you say, that woman, she's a representation of, what's going on. So King, he then threw his feet. He ain't got a little drink in him. He feeling good. Like, man, go get my queen, so I can show off. Go ahead, read.
Verse 12. But the queen Vashti refused to come.
She did what?
She refused to come.
Go ahead.
At the king's commandment by his chamberlains.
So you got this woman, just like, some sisters, they just, even though she's not a sister, she a heathen, but you have it, they want to be defiant, He told her, he trying to actually show off, knowing her, she upset because she wasn't there in the beginning. So now she got an attitude because she felt like she's supposed to, been the center of attention already. So now when he decided he wanted to call her, she don't want to come. She refusing. She was, no, I ain't coming. That's what she telling her chamberlains. Telling the king's chamberlains. Go ahead.
Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him.
So that made the man hot. So you got this king. He didn't went to war. He didn't conquered lands. Now he over 120 provinces, which basically like looking at like a small country. He got all this territory that he didn't conquer. And then you got this woman that just talking about some. Now you got all these men that commands and that at the drop of a dime do what you got to say, do what you say. But then you got this woman that's just very defiant. Just look at that. Like I said, that's that can mess up your reputation. So that's why when you picking a partner, or you picking a wife, you picking a rib, you want to make sure that you follow the process of vetting that woman. Right. You want to follow the process accordingly, because it can be make or break, because you as an officer, in the Israelite school UPK, that woman is representation of you. So you got men that's up under you. You got men that'll die for you. If given the order. So you turn around and you ask your woman to do something, she been defiant. How they gonna make you look, especially in front of all your people. Right. You telling your woman, look, come here, do X, Y, Z, and she, nah, I ain't doing nothing. Man, look, what? You don't want that. Go ahead, read.
Come. Verse 13. Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew law and judgment. Mm-hmm. And the next unto him was Karshana, Shethar, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Marsena, and Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat the first in the kingdom.
So you got, all his chamberlains, they looking at his face. They seeing the anger in his face. They seeing how upset he is that this woman just like blatantly just defied his order. Right. He king. Y'all, like I said, he done went and he did conquering. He feeling good. He feeling merry. He want to show his woman off. She refusing. Go ahead, read.
Verse 15. What shall we do unto Queen Vashti according to law? Because she hath not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains.
So they trying to figure out. They saying, man, what we gonna do about this? According to the law, what is it that's supposed to happen to this woman that has defied the king? What do we do? Go ahead, read.
Verse 16. And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen hath not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus.
So they looking like, man, look, hey, she ain't only, did wrong to the king by being defiant. She did wrong to all the princes, right, and all the people, all the men that's in the land. Right. She done set a bar. Man, well, we gotta this have to be addressed. What we gonna do? Because what just happened, this can't go, this can't, it can't just be like this. Right. So something must happen, something must take place. Go ahead, read.
Verse 17. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes.
So they should what?
So they shall despise their husbands in their eyes.
Go ahead.
When it shall be reported.
So they saying, look, man, if we let this go on and word get out, then all women, all the women in these provinces gonna think it's okay, to be defiant to their man. And you look around, that's how it is today. America has made it to where our sisters is very disrespectful to the men in the household. They don't listen. I don't need no man. You can't tell me, I got my own. I do what I want to do. Versus that man, like the Lord says, the savior of the body. You supposed to, you look for that man to, be for protection. And protection is not just only physical, but it's also mental and spiritual. When that man trying to give you guidance, telling you, look, don't do X, Y, and Z, is because he already know and foresee what can happen. So he's saving you from those, them type of situations. But our women, sometimes being so simple-minded, they ain't understanding that. They just want to do what they want to do. And when you let that happen, you have young men up under you looking at you. People coming into the school, and you have to make sure that, your house is in order. Is being she's a representation of you. She's honoring you to the utmost. See what I'm saying? So we're gonna go over to Esther chapter 2, verse 1.
It's the book of Esther, chapter 2, verse 1. After these things, when the wrath of the king Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done, and what was decreed against her.
So, after everything that happened, the king, he finally, calmed down, after everything, then went on, after she didn't defy, after his, Vashti does, first, the queen at the time, she had, defied him and didn't want, didn't come when he, asked for her to come. He didn't calm down now, because there was a decree made that, okay, well, she can't be the queen no more. That was the punishment that was given. That was a decree that was made. We're gonna remove her from her spot because if the king let that go on, then this gonna trickle down when they get out, and then every woman within these provinces gonna believe that's okay. Right. So that was the punishment. So she was removed. Go ahead, read.
Verse 2. Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought for the king.
Let there be what?
Let there be fair young virgins sought for the king.
So they came up with a plan. They said, okay, since we done removed her from being the queen, the king, made a decree. Let's go out and let's find some more beautiful women, for the king. And let him, let them come into the palace and let the king choose who he wants. Let's replace. And that, sometimes that's what happens. You don't get mad at the woman. Okay, you want to be defiant, you want to do it. Okay, fine. Okay, cool. I'll get somebody else. Because it's lawful for a man, according to the scriptures, to have as many women as he wants. Right. For the most part, if a woman's doing, she's not being defiant and, she's doing what she's supposed to do, most men be content with that woman. Most. Because they don't want to do, really nothing to, vex that woman. So they'll be content if she's doing right. But, you being defiant and, you being wicked, you being a monster, don't get upset. Just go get somebody that's kind. Go get another beautiful woman. Hey, that's what the king did. That's what this king and servants did. He's like, this chamberlain to say, come on, let's round up all, we had 120 provinces. Let's round up all the beautiful women in there and have them come and let the king choose who he wants. Go ahead, read.
Verse 3. And let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan, the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Hedge, the king's chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let their things be purification, and let their things be for and let their things for purification be given them.
So they went out, put officers in all these provinces, put the decree out to gather all the beautiful women that's within these provinces to come into the king, come into, into Shushan the palace. And, you had men and women that was put over them to watch over them and make sure that they have everything that they need for, for purification, meaning, for cleansing. Go ahead, read.
Verse 4. And let the maiden which pleaseth the king be queen instead of Vashti.
And the what?
And let the maiden which pleaseth the king be queen instead of Vashti.
Go ahead.
And the thing pleased the king, and he did so.
So they decided, okay, the one that pleases the king, pleases, the king the most, let her become the queen now. Since Vashti, she want to be defiant. She don't want to do it, be submissive, do what the king says. She don't want to, be cooperative. Okay. And that pleased them. Go ahead, read.
Verse 5. Now in Shushan, the palace, there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite. Verse 6, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity which had been carried away with Jeconiah, the king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought up Hadassah, this is Esther, his uncle's daughter, was for she had neither father nor mother, and her maid was fair and beautiful.
And
the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter.
So you got Mordecai, who, is partially the story is about also, he raised up, Esther, which was his cousin. He took her on as his own daughter when, her parents had died. This was a custom, of our nation. If you growing up, just to make sure that we stay knit tight.
Right.
We is no separation. Make sure that everyone is taken care of. We didn't have what our presses have now, where we put our people in old folks' homes and things like that. No, they came with us, or well, we got to go through the process of our kids being put in foster care versus actually being given to a family member that's actually capable of raising them. Instead, our oppressors, they want to put our kids through foster care systems where they're molested and abused and things and stuff like that, versus actually just go ahead and just letting a family member go ahead and raise them up. Go ahead,
What's heavy about that is that, like today's time. So my first cousin, my auntie, she was into some trouble, and she couldn't keep her kids. So the kids was like, they was like 15, like 14. My cousin like 14 and older. My cousin, he was 17, and he was locked up. So instead of them going to the city, my mother, she took them in. So the four of them stayed with us for like almost 12, 15 years.
That's what's up. That's what that's what you're supposed to do. Go ahead, Mark.
So why they still be saying that Esther was a Moabite when it just said right here that it was Mordecai's uncle's daughter?
Nah, that's talking about that's a roof. Right. That's a roof. This Esther, this two different. Right. So go ahead, read.
Verse 8. So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, that when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace, to the custody of Hejah, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Hejah, keeper of the women. Verse 9. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him, and he speedily gave her things for purification, with such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens which were meet to be given her out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women.
Go ahead.
Verse 10. Esther had not showed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it.
So you got when he finally gazed upon Esther, or saying Esther, his heart melted. He like, man, this woman bad. Right. So he hurried up and gave her everything that she needed. He like, man, I gotta have her. So he like, here, like, man, see a woman like, he want to give her the world. So that's what the king did. The king decided to say, look, man, this woman is just drop dead gorgeous. So this the woman that I want. So his heart melted, and he gave her what she needed, for the purification. If anybody want to understand the purification, it's a period of time, whereas that you go through where you basically you cleansing your body. You know, this is king's custom. So approximately for a year, you know, you taking baths and things, with different oils and perfumes, scents and things and stuff like that. So it's basically, you know, so what they basically saying is they cleansing them for all impurities. This is the process that this king going through. So he gave her everything that she needed and required for her to make sure she go through this purification, because he decided that she was going to be the next queen. So this is why he's going through the process. And during this process, Mordecai, he gave her order to not let them know that she was actually, Israelite. She was a Jew. He, you know, because he didn't want everybody to know. You know, because at the same token, it was still unlawful for, us to, you would not do the right 7:6 say you're not supposed to give your daughters to, they sons, and they son. You're not supposed to give your sons to their daughters. So there's one. So Mordecai, you want to make sure that was kept under wraps, that they didn't know that she was actually a Jew at that time. So let's go to let's jump over to chapter 3, start at verse 1.
Come.
Somebody else can pick up. You ain't got to be the only one to read.
Come.
I got it.
The book of First Esther, chapter 3 and verse 1. After these things, the king Ahasuerus provoked Haman, son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him, and set his seat above all the princes that were with him.
So you got this. Go ahead, sis.
I'm confused.
Go ahead.
If she was a Jew, so this king, what was he?
He was a Persian Mede.
So why were they giving her to him?
You said why was they giving her?
Yeah.
Because at the time we was up under their rulership. He ruled over them. So as you read, like during the Babylonian captivity, Mordecai and most of the Judah was taken into captivity. So during that time, then you had the Medes and the Persians come and fight the Babylonians, and now they took over. So now we're in that captivity, we up under them. So by us being up under their rulership and things, when they put out that decree in these 120 provinces to go get all the fair and beautiful women, she was one of the ones that had to come, because it was a decree that all the most beautiful women, all the beautiful women out of these provinces come, and whichever one the king want, that's the one he get. See what I'm saying? So go ahead. Start back over.
Come. Book of Esther, chapter 3, verse 1. After these things, the king Ahasuerus provoked Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him, and set his seat above all the princes that were with him.
Go ahead, read.
Verse 2. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence.
So you got Haman, which is an Edomite, for everybody that want, he was put above everybody, all the princes. He was like the top. He basically was like, he would be like the top general in his in his army or whatever. So he had commanding over everybody. So everybody that came in and out the gate of the king's palace, they bowed down to him, and they gave him praise. But Mordecai, he like, no, he didn't think too much of him. He like, no, I'm not bowing down to him. Right. I'm not gonna do that. Only person that I bow down to is the Most High, basically. Right. That's how he look, because you ain't supposed, he's looking at him like, no, I'm not doing that. Go ahead, read.
Verse 3. Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, Why transgresseth thou the king's commandment?
So you got the rest of, you black folks and stuff, man. Why you doing this? You gonna make it hard on all of us. Why you define what the king commanded? The king said that we supposed to, reverence this man. We supposed to bow down to him.
Right.
Why you ain't doing it? They gonna start looking at all of us. You gonna make this hard. Go ahead, read.
Verse 4. Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand. For he had told them that he was a Jew.
So now how it. Hey, we gonna go tell Mordecai. I mean, we're gonna go tell Haman that this is brother saying talking about something because he a Jew, he not gonna bow down to him. Right. We're gonna see what happened. You see, situations like this, to bring it home. You see it like at your job. You have somebody that's been there for a minute or whatever, and they bring new rules or something, and then you got one person that don't follow the rules. So now you got the other people that's coming in, new people coming in, like, okay, well, let me go tell such. So let me see what's gonna happen to them. Because if don't nothing happen to them, then I should be able to do it. Right. That's basically what this is. Let's go tell. We're gonna see what's gonna happen. Let me see what's gonna happen to him. So, because if ain't nothing happen to him, then why should I do it? Right. That's basically that's what this is going on. Read.
Verse 5. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, there was a month full of wrath.
So when Haman heard about it, he came and tested it out. And then Mordecai still didn't bow down to, reverence him. So now he pissed. He mad. He like, man, but that's how Edomites is. You got Edomites today. They look like, they on top of the world. They say something to you, they feel like you supposed to, jump to what they say, especially, when you at the slavery. Right. You got an Edomite boss that's over you, they say something, you supposed to run and do it. You supposed to run and jump. You take too long, they looking at they pissed. Right. They ready to write you up. They ready, fire you. They ready to do it, So that's what's going on right here. Go ahead, read.
Verse 6. And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone.
He thought what?
And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone.
So he thought, like, man, like, I should do something to this cat. I should do something to him. He the king say, he put me up in this high position, and this man ain't even trying to acknowledge what, acknowledge me. I should put some hands on this man. Go ahead, read.
They had shewed him the people of Mordecai, wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai.
So now what he did, he like, okay, well, I'll do something even better. I'll wipe out his whole nation. All because he want to be defined. All right, cool. And that's how that's how Edomites is. You look at the story, of Moses. During Moses' time, they tried to wipe us out. As far as stop our line by killing the firstborns. Right. When you look at the story with Christ, when King Herod heard about what's supposed to be happening, he from any child that was 2 years and under, he like, man, kill him. So that's how Mordecai, that's how Edomites is. They want to wipe out your whole existence. When they get mad, they want to wipe out your whole existence. Right. And that's what this man decided to do. He decided to say, okay, look, for one person that want to defy me, look, I'm finna wipe out the whole nation. Okay. Let's go over to 4 and start at verse 1.
Esther, chapter 4, verse 1. When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes.
He did what?
Mordecai rent his clothes.
Go ahead.
And put on sackcloth with ashes, and went out into the midst of the city, and cried with a loud and a bitter cry.
So now, when Mordecai found out that it was a decree that he got just to bring you up to speed, Mordecai went to the king and he got the king to make a decree to say that he can wipe out the whole nation. At an appointed time. So with him being able to wipe out the whole nation at this appointed time, Mordecai, word got back to Mordecai, and Mordecai was like, man, he was raw. That made him feel bad because he looking like, man, my all this is happening because of me.
Right.
He like, I'm not bound down to this man, and now it's a decree for the whole nation to be wiped out. So he like I said, when you put on put on them sackcloth and them ashes, you understand he became in a state of mourning. He became sorrowful. He became depressed. No, go ahead, read.
Verse 2. And came even before the king's gate, for none might enter into the king's gate clothed with sackcloth.
So he came right in front of, he did what he normally do. But this time, like I say, he was in sackcloth. He had ashes. And when, a man that's in, basically, in that type of state, you can't come into the king's gate. You have to stay outside of it. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And in every province, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, there was great mourning among the Jews, and fasting, and weeping, and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes. Verse 4. So Esther's maids and her chamberlains came and told it to her. Told it her. Then was the queen exceedingly grieved.
So now when Esther found out it was given to, it got back to Esther. Esther, she was, she became sorrowful because now she realizing that her whole nation is about to be wiped out. So she didn't became sorrowful. She didn't became now she's mourning. Now she's in the state of sorrowfulness and like sadness. Go ahead, read.
And she sent raiment to clothe Mordecai and to take away his sackcloth from him, but he received it not.
Right. So she, with her hearing this, she just, she decided to say, send them some clothes, some proper clothes to put on. So when she said, she said he's saying this, and he refused to put on those clothes,
right?
Because he devastated. He like, my whole nation about to be wiped out. He didn't want that gift. Go ahead, read.
Verse 5. Then called Esther for a top, one of the king's chamberlains, whom he had appointed to attend upon her, and gave him a commandment to Mordecai to know what it was and why it was.
So one of the people that the king gave to appointed to Esther, she told him to go tell Mordecai what it was. Because Mordecai had refused it. So with her, telling Mordecai, she hoping that he'll receive it, because he understand that it was being from her. That was her whole, that was the whole purpose, and that was her hope. Go ahead, read.
Verse 6. So a talk went forth to Mordecai unto the street of the city, which was before the king's gate. Verse 7. And Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him, and of the sum of the money that Haman had promised to pay the king's treasuries for the Jews to destroy them.
So when he came, to deliver Esther's message, Mordecai explained to her why he's in the state that he's in, and why he has on sackcloth, and why he has on ashes, and why he's like this. He told her, like, this man then put, a bounty on the head of everybody who wipe out her nation.
Right.
So when he said, he got the king's, okay to do this. Go ahead, read.
Verse 8. Also, he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given to Shushan to destroy them, to shew it unto Esther, and to declare it unto her. and to charge her that she should go in unto the king to make supplication unto him and to make request before him for her people.
So when he came, he gave, after he, Mordecai explained to why he's in the state and in the situation that he's in, he also gave her, a copy of the decree that was put out also about, the bounty and, the appointed day that, the whole nation is to be wiped out.
Right.
So, and then also told, sent messages to say, okay, well, these is your people. You need to go in there. You need to do something. You need to go in there and let, the king know that, you plead for your people. That
Right.
you don't want this to happen. Whatever you need to do, have a, feminine act or whatever. Ooh, excuse me. You need to make sure that this ain't done. That as a nation that we survive.
Right.
Go ahead, read.
Verse 9. And the Isupk came and told Esther the words of Mordecai. Verse 10. Again, Esther spake unto the Isupk and gave him commandment unto Mordecai. Verse 11.
Hold up. So now you got Hatasha came back and gave Mordecai the message. Gave Esther the message that Mordecai had said. So now, after understanding and hearing what Mordecai had said, Esther sent another message back to Mordecai. Go ahead, read.
Verse 11. All the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king into the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death.
So Esther, she sent word back to saying, look, if you go into the king's chamber and he haven't called you, whether you man or woman, it's a law that you be put to death.
Right.
So basically, she really think about herself like, man, I'm not finna go in here because I might die. Right here, this is she's basically, really, she's not thinking of the nation anymore. She's really just thinking about herself. She's, she's being selfish right now, because she looking at like, okay, she's the queen. She gonna be okay.
Right.
But I'm not gonna put my life in jeopardy, to save everybody else. I'm not gonna do that because the king then put out a law saying that, okay, unless I'm called, I can't go in there. Go ahead, read.
Except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter, that he may live.
So you say only way I can get up in there, he got to hold that golden scepter out. If he ain't hold that golden scepter out, then that's the only way I'm gonna live. But if I just go in there unannounced, just to make this plea, then I may die.
Right.
Go ahead, read.
I have not been called to come in unto the kings these 30 days.
She says, but I got 30 days away. I got a whole month before I can come in. Well, now just imagine that. You got, you king, you got so many women, they get 30 days apiece. They get a month. You got a whole month. Or you can see the king, or you see your man. I don't know. Maybe they gonna like it. She say, look, she respect it. Like, look, I got 30 days before I can go see this man. If I go in there before then, I'm gonna die. Oh, look, he ain't hold no golden scepter out to me. He might be in there with one of his other ribs. Hey, so go ahead, read.
It's like, okay, and that's the point of fasting, right? When we start fasting, you know what I'm saying? You can try to get used to it, but 30 days is a whole lot compared to one fast in 1 day.
I mean, fast, is a couple of different things, Some people, the scriptures say, you got to have an agreement with your rib, before you do something like that. Y'all got to both be in agreement. You can't just decide to say, okay, I want to have sex with you for 30 days. Right. You can't do that. Your rib got to agree with you. But go ahead.
Verse 12. And they told to Mordecai Esther's words. Verse 13. Then Mordecai
what?
And they told to Mordecai Esther's words.
So they came back to Mordecai and they let Mordecai know, look, this is what Esther said. Esther say, look, she can't. She got 30 days before she can go see the king. You know, if she go in there, she says she going there before then you know she might die because he got to hold that golden scepter out there. It ain't her time to be going in there with him right now. You know, that's how you can. You know, she came. They came back like, look, hey, that's what she say. Go ahead, read.
Verse 13. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house more than all the Jews.
So that's what Mordecai's response was. He sent back. He said, look, don't think just because you in the house and you the queen that you finna escape this punishment too. That all the rest of the Jews is about to see, this decree. Don't think you safe. You know, because like I said, right now she's just thinking about herself. She ain't thinking about, the whole nation. And as the children of Israel, so-called Black Hispanics and Native Indians, we supposed to think about each other.
Right.
That's Christ's whole, that's what he came to teach us. Brotherhood and sisterhood.
That's right.
We supposed to be looking out for one another. We're not individuals. Our existence is based on us, being kind to one another as a nation.
Right.
And not just, not being selfish, but being selfless. We have to and we have lost that, sense of morality right now. And, under, the Isupk, under Command Junior Hana, we're bringing that, that selflessness back.
That's right.
As we come into the school, you learn to be selfless. You learn to look out for your brother or your sister than yourself. Everything is predicated on how do I build this nation? How do I make sure that my brother or my sister is not offended? How do I make sure that they understand, they can live,
right?
Versus survive in this kingdom. That's what Christ taught us. He taught us brotherhood and sisterhood.
Right.
And that's what this nation is built upon. Lacan, go ahead.
If I could, so what you're saying is so heavy, but just the nature of World War III and how everything coming down on America and the tension between our oppressor and us is the Lord is damn near forcing us to come back together and actually show that brotherhood and sisterhood that we once had for each other again.
Right.
But go ahead, read.
Verse 14. For thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place.
He say, look, if you don't say nothing, you wanna be quiet, you wanna keep quiet, you don't wanna go in there. He say our salvation gonna come from somewhere else.
Right.
Don't even worry. Don't worry about it. You wanna go ahead and you don't want to go in there. You want to make supplications for your nation. You don't want to go talk to the king. You want to worry about whether or not you're gonna die or whatever. Go ahead and do that. He say, but best believe this decree ain't gonna come to pass.
That's right.
The Lord's gonna make sure that his nation is not wiped out. His firstborn, his first love, his beloved children, they not gonna be wiped out.
Right.
Salvation is gonna come. Go ahead, read.
It's like, but thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed.
You say, but what?
But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed.
And when that's happened, he say, you and your father's house, y'all gonna be destroyed. It's gonna be wiped out. Being selfish and just thinking about yourself, we gonna be saved, but guess what's gonna happen to you? Your family and y'all gonna be wiped out. You're not gonna be existent. You're gonna be non-existent.
Right.
Go ahead, read.
And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this?
And he say, and while you sitting up here thinking that just only for yourself, how you know you're not putting the Lord didn't put you in this position, for this, you know, for you to be in this position to make sure that our nation is not wiped out.
Right.
How you know you not? The Lord didn't put you right here. This is what Mordecai. This is what Mordecai was trying to get Esther to understand and you know understand to make sure that his people, you know, is saved.
Right.
Her people is saved. Okay. Let's jump over to verse chapter 8.
The book of Esther, chapter 8, verse 1.
Go ahead.
On that day did the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman the Jews enemy unto Esther the queen.
So now, to speed up, you got. Matter of fact, let's go back so we can go ahead and read about when they actually switched over. Go to go to verse 5. Start at verse 5.
8, 5.
No, 5 and 1.
5 and 1. Esther chapter 5, verse 1. Now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the court of the king's house, over against the king's house. And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house, over against the gate of the house. Verse 2.
So now you got Esther. Esther told Mordecai, you know, and when she sent word back, Esther told Mordecai and you know to tell, you know, all the people that's in the province and Mordecai to, you know, put on sackcloth and to pray, because she's gonna go and she's gonna make the supplication. She's gonna go and she's gonna do what he asked of her, and you know they fasted for, you know, they fasted for what, 3 days, and they prayed, and so when she went in there, that her life be preserved. So right now we're reading up where Esther, she presented herself in the court. The way is that, you know, her husband, the king, can see her. So instead of just actually going into the going straight into the chamber, she presented herself. She put on, you know, the nice, beautiful apparel and stuff. You know, she fixed herself up. You know how sisters, when they want to look good, you know, she took the time and she put on, you know, the nice clothing and stuff. You know, I'm pretty sure she probably had a bad shape. You know, she is an Israelite, so she walked out. You know, she walked out in the middle of the court. You know, she's sitting up there acting like, you know, she just, you know, waiting to, you know, for him to look out and gaze upon her and see her. So go ahead and read.
Verse 2. And it was so, when the king saw Esther the queen standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight.
So she looked out. He looked, hey, oh, that shit going good. He like, hey, come on here. You know, he's saying this woman. He like, hey, you come on. He's saying how beautiful she looking all good and things and stuff. He look like, man, you know, when you see your woman, she then decide to take time to put herself together. Just imagine y'all finna go out. Y'all ain't been out in a while. You know, sisters take, you know, when they decide they want to put on some clothes and get did up, it's a wonderful thing. So that's what he's saying at this time. He looking like, man, look at her. So go ahead.
And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand.
He immediately, when he saying, hey, yeah, hey, come on up. You heard about that scepter? Like, hey, come on up in here. Hey, yeah, what's going on? What's wrong? Go ahead.
So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter.
So she came and she touched the top of the scepter, because that's the invitation for her to come on in. He thinking like, man, hey, you know, maybe she wants some. You know, she didn't want to wait them 30 days. She didn't have to wait them 30 days. You know, Yeah, he loved her more than the rest of them anyway. So look, she's hey, whenever she want, hey, he like, come on, go ahead.
Verse 3. Then said the king unto her, what wilt thou, Queen Esther? And what is thy request?
He's saying, what can I do for you? What's your request? What you need? Go ahead.
It shall be even given to thee to the half of the kingdom.
He said, whatever you want, I give you whatever you request, whatever you want is given to you, even if it's half of the kingdom. Excuse me, because remember, she the queen. So he's saying, look, half of this kingdom, all the way up to the half of the kingdom, you can have whatever you want, whatever your request is, whatever you desire, I'm giving it to you. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And Esther answered, if it seem good unto the king, that the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for him.
She said, look, if it be good to you, she say, if it pleases you, can Haman and you come to a banquet that I didn't plan. She didn't thought this out. But now sisters on the mission, look, they when they need to do something, hey, they can give some time. They can come up with a strategy, boy. Man, they come up with a strategy. So she like, yeah, he come to this banquet if it pleases you. You and your your top general, your top prince. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Then the king said, because Haman to make haste, that he may do as Esther had said. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared.
So he sent word to Haman and told Haman, look, hurry up, Haman. So Haman, he all full. He on this. I was like, yeah, I'm finna go have dinner with the king and the queen. So he hurried up. He did what he needed to do. He made it down there to the to the palace so they can have a feast. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And the king said unto Esther at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? Even to the half of the kingdom it shall be performed.
So again, he asked her, what you need? What do you want? Whatever you asking for, whatever your desire is, even all the way up into the half of the kingdom, I'm gonna give it to you. Go ahead.
Verse 7. Then answered Esther and said, my petition and my request is, verse 8, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them. And I will do tomorrow as the king hath said.
And she said, okay, I'm gonna do another banquet. And my request is that y'all attend this banquet also. That's all. And just look how she acts. She said, if it pleases you. Women in their femininity, that's all. You look, baby, if it pleases you, like, hey, can you do this for me? The man his heart just melt. Like, oh, baby, okay, man, God, whatever you want, baby. That's all. Hey, can I I want to go. I want to go get these shoes I've been seeing for a minute. Can I get some money to go see it? No, baby. She's like, hold up. If it pleases you, you're like, oh, man, oh, yeah. How much is it? That's it. But that's all. Woman, they know how to do it. That's all you gotta do is be kind. That's all. But brother ain't doing nothing but asking you just be nice. Be cooperative. Don't be a monster. Cook for me. Surprise me with something. Right. Make my favorite dish. Come and rub my back. Sit down and just watch a movie or something with me and just don't say nothing. Right. You can get what you want then. Go ahead, read.
Verse 9. Then went Haman forth that day joyful and with a glad heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, that he stood not up, nor moved for him. He was full of indignation against Mordecai.
So, so Haman, he all, happy and stuff. He leaving the banquet and stuff. He on his way home. And he get to the gate. He see Mordecai. Mordecai ain't get up. Mordecai ain't paid him no attention. Like, man, I ain't doing enough for you. So now he got pissed again. It's all that joyness and stuff that went out. He just sees like, man, I just can't stand him. That's how he was. He really, really hated Mordecai. Go ahead.
Verse 10. Nevertheless, Haman refrained himself, and when he came home, he sent and called for his friends and Zeresh his wife. Verse 11. And Haman told them of the glory of his riches and the multitude of his children, and all the things wherein the king had promoted him, and how he had advanced him above the princes and servants of the king.
So, Haman, when he got home, he started telling his wife, about everything that went on, how his day done went, how he got promoted, and how, he just had lunch with the queen and the king, and how, he's supposed to tomorrow be having another lunch at that banquet, that he been invited to. So he excited. He all happy. How you come home and you didn't get this promotion, or you ain't got a raise that you've been wanting a long time, or you just having a good day. You come home and you talk to your rib about it. So that's what Haman. That's what he did. So jump down to 6. Chapter 6. Verse 1.
Esther chapter 6 verse 1. On that night could not the king sleep. And he commanded to bring the book of records of the Chronicles, and they were read before the king.
So on that night, that night right before the banquet, the king, he was having, issues with sleeping. So he like, okay, bring the book of the Chronicles. So he want to go through. He want to read, basically what been going on. Just like the book of the Chronicles. His book is like, a record of, what's been going on, throughout all the provinces and things and stuff like that. So this is recorded record. So that's what he's asking for. So he decided, let me see what's been going on, over these days and things and stuff like that. Go ahead, read.
Verse 2. And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthana and Teresh, 2 of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus.
So when he opened up his book, he found out that Mordecai, stopped some people that was trying to assassinate him. Nobody never say nothing to him about it. He looking like he reading this. He like, man, wow. He like, man, this Mordecai, he didn't stop somebody, attempt assassination on my life. Go ahead, read.
Verse 3. And the king said, what honor and dignity had been done to Mordecai for this?
He's saying like, man, what happened? Who did, has he been reverenced for this? Has he been rewarded? What has happened? What came about that when he did this great deed? I ain't know nothing about it. So what happened for, what was given to him for this? Go ahead, read.
Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, there was nothing done for him.
They said ain't nothing been done for him. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And the king said, who is in the court? Now Haman was come into the outward court of the king's house to speak unto the king to hang Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared for him.
So you got Haman, he on his way, he just entered back. He coming from his house and entered back. Him and his rib, they didn't conspire to say, okay, look, we gonna hang him during this day. We gonna hang him on the gallows, So he coming back to talk to the king to get this to have this take place. He rushing back to the courts to talk to the king that had made sure Mordecai get hung. Go ahead, read.
Verse 5. And the king's servant said unto him, behold, Haman standeth in the court. And the king said, let him come in.
He said, Haman out there. So king say, all right, oh man, let him come in. Go ahead.
Verse 6. So Haman came in, And the king said unto him, what shall be done unto the man whom the king delighted to honor?
So he asking Haman, he like, man, what should be done, you know, for this man who delighteth the king? What the honor should be bestowed on him? What should we do to make sure, to highlight, everything that he has done, for this kingdom? Read.
Now Haman thought in his heart, to whom would the king delight to do honor more than to myself?
So Haman thinking he talking about himself. So Haman in his mind like, okay, look, I'm finna go all out. He asked, what should I do? You know, what the king should do for me? Go ahead.
Verse 7. And Haman answered the king, for the man whom the king delighted to honor. Verse 8. Let the royal apparel be brought, which the king used it to wear, and the horse that the king rideth upon, and the crown royal which is set upon his head.
So Haman decides, hey, look, man, let him put on some royal apparel. Let him get on this horse. He gonna be riding in like a soldier, all prestige. Yeah, he's sitting up there. Hey, let this happen to him. Go ahead.
Verse 9. And let his apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes, that they may array the man withal whom the king delighted to honor, and bring him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaim before him, thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighted to honor.
So he's saying let this man be paraded all around, let everybody see, how the king honoring him. He in this royal apparel, he on this horse. He gonna be delivered to the, the prince of the Lord's, the king's choice. So Haman thinking he finna just had a time in his life. He's just thinking about everything that's about to go on. How he just finna be, just honored throughout all the problems. Everybody finna look up to him. Go ahead.
Verse 10. Then the king said to Haman, make haste and take the apparel and the horse, as thou hast said, and do even so to Mordecai the Jew that sitteth at the king's gate, that nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken.
He's like, take that to Mordecai. So you know how Haman felt. Haman, huh? Take the Mordecai? Go ahead, read.
Verse 11. Then took Haman the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mordecai, and brought him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaimed before him, thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighted to honor. Verse 12. And Mordecai came again to the king's gate, but Haman hasted to his house mourning, and having his head covered.
So Haman did what the king said, but after all that, he ran back home. He was upset. He was wroth. He had his head covered and everything. He felt so hurt. He was so shameful. He was just like, man, what's going on? All right, go over to verse 8. Chapter 8.
Esther chapter 8, verse 1. On that day did the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman the Jews' enemy unto Esther the queen. And Mordecai came before the king.
Right.
Esther had told what he was unto her. Verse 2. And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it unto Mordecai. And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman.
So now you got roles got reversed. So after all this, now you have Esther, she came and she let the king know what was going on, the underhanded plan. So now the king took off his ring and he gave it to Mordecai. Because like he told Esther, he said, look, even up until half of the kingdom, whatever you ask for is given to you. And this is the request that Esther had asked for. Go ahead, read.
Verse 3. And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite, and his device that he had devised against the Jews. Verse 4. Then the king held out the golden scepter toward Esther. So Esther arose and stood before the king. Verse 5, and said, if it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and the thing seem right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, then it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews which are in all the king's provinces.
So that's to say, look, if it pleases you, let the decree that was written that Haman did underhandedly, let it be reversed. Let it be taken. Let this not happen. Go ahead.
Verse 6. For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people? Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred?
So she pleading. She like, how can I just watch my people just be destroyed? How can I watch them perish? How can I watch them just die? Go ahead.
Verse 7. Then the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther the queen and to Mordecai the Jew, behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him they have hanged upon the gallows, because he had laid his hand upon the Jews.
So he told Esther, look, I give you the house of Haman and the gallows, and you can do what he was gonna do to you. I mean, do to your people. Okay, go ahead, read.
Verse 8. Write ye also for the Jews, as it liketh you, in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. For the writing which is written in the king's name and sealed with the king's ring, may no man reverse.
So she told, can you write this down and you seal it with your ring and make it where that no man can reverse it? Go ahead.
Verse 9. Then were the king's scribes called at that time in the 3rd month, that is, the month of Sivan, on the 23rd day thereof. And it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded unto the Jews, and to the lieutenants, and the deputies, and the rulers of the provinces which are from India unto Ethiopia, and 127 provinces, unto every province according to the writing thereof, and unto every people after their language, and to the Jews according to their writing and according to their language.
So this decree was sent out to all the 127 provinces that it was overturned. That no more that Haman and the bounty that he had put on was in effect anymore, but that all that has been reversed, and what was going to happen to the Jews, our people at that time, now it's going to happen to Mordecai. I mean to Haman and his household.
Right.
Let's jump over to chapter 9, and we're gonna go down to verse 21. Yes.
The book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 21.
Sorry, verse 20.
Esther, chapter 9, verse 20. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the king of Ahasuerus, both night and far. It's like both nigh and far. Verse 21. To establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month, Adar, and the 15th day of the same yearly. Verse 22. And the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another, and gifts to the poor.
So you got Mordecai. He put a decree out that we should keep what is today, the 14th day of what they say again, of the month of Adar, which is the same year at the same time, which will be, if I'm not mistaken, the 10th month. It's the 10th month and the 14th day, 14th, 15th day. That's what we're celebrating right now. Go ahead, read.
Verse 23. And the Jews undertook to do as they had begun, and as Mordecai had written unto them. 24. Because Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews, had devised against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast Pur, that is, the lot, to consume them and to destroy them.
So you got Haman that he cast lots, like you say, which is well, he cast a Pur, which is another name that's casting lots. It's like basically like throwing dots. It's like gamma, basically. So this is what Mordecai he decreed that on this day, because we were supposed to die as a nation, and instead it was reversed, and the man that devised this plan, him and his household, they was the ones that actually suffered this punishment, that we take this and we celebrate it. This was written down. Right. And we celebrate this feast. We celebrate this with feasts and with gifts and with like I say, gifts to the poor, and just a celebration from us being destroyed to us actually living as a nation.
All right. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letters that his wicked device, which he devised against the Jews, should return upon his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows. Verse 26. Wherefore they called these days Purim after the name of Pur. Therefore, for all the words of this letter, and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come up to them. Verse 27. The Jews ordained and took upon them, and upon their seed, and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing, and according to their appointed time every year. Verse 28. And that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, and every city, and that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Jews, nor the memorial of them perish from their seed. Verse 29. And Esther the queen, the daughter of Abihail, and Mordecai the Jew wrote with all authority to confirm this second letter of Purim. Verse 30. And he sent the letters unto all the Jews to the 127 provinces of the king of Ahasuerus, like of the kingdom of Ahasuerus, with words of peace and truth. Verse 31. To confirm these days of Purim in their times appointed, according as Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoyed them, like enjoying them, and as they had decreed for themselves and for their seed the matters of the fastings and their crying. Verse 32. And the decree of Esther confirmed these matters of Purim, and it was written in the book.
So you got this is why we celebrate the Feast of Purim.
Right.
With these 2 days, according to what had happened, us going from actually being wiped out as a nation to, with this evil Edomite and his wicked plan, to it being turned around. All because we had one courageous sister go in unto her husband, take the time and get and use, her submissiveness and her, her cunningness, and to get her husband to change his mind and switch everything that was supposed to happen to us, as far as us dying as a nation, to it happening to the man that actually devised this plan.
Right.
And so today is why we're honoring the sister Esther for what she has done when it comes to the Feast of Purim. So, with that, that's it.